so I'll make sure I look around to see who's here. All right. So I think that's everybody. So I want to be completely transparent. We have had some technical difficulties. I actually, I'm going to share with you a photo. You can tell I don't have my glasses on. So yeah, this afternoon, or this, yeah, we started to get this signal shortly after the storm today. I don't know if you're in the Baltimore area. We had a tornado in the Maryland area. And so we've had some trouble with our uploads of the show in completion. But I didn't want to cancel today. What I thought we would do is just make it a lot more casual, but still see excerpts from the show. So it's going to be a little different. And so we are postponing the full show. It's about an hour of the movie musical until Tuesday, until we get some of those technical difficulties squared away. But the cast has been working so hard and waiting so long to see themselves on camera. I was like, well, let's just hang out and let's take a look at some of the excerpts and then hear from the people who are in them and sharing about what it was like to create them. And we'll take a look at some of the material as a sneak peek and a sizzler. Is that all right with everybody? We good with that? All right, and then you can feel free to ask questions as we go along. I love questions. You can put them in the chat, or you can raise your hand and give us a little holler. So I'm gonna open up, I have the drive already open. And I think the first scene that I'd like to share with you was captured by the cast themselves. I did not capture any of this material. Everyone was assigned to capture themselves preparing for school in the morning. And this is what they sent. And the fabulous Lauren Arazo edited it together. And yes, Lauren, you have a question?
Kobe does.
Oh.
Hey, so you said the full movie won't be released on Tuesday. So today we're just going to be watching some of the clips that you guys prepared on Zoom and not on YouTube right now?
Correct.
It is live streaming. This conversation is live streaming on YouTube right now.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Let me refresh the page.
Yes, it is up, and I see myself on the screen over there.
Okay, cool. So today we're just going to be watching. Okay.
All right. So
it's really crazy because I can literally see you, Kobe, on my TV.
I see myself on the screen.
Are we ready for our do it?
Hi, Monica.
All right. This is called Halls of the High. I thought it was Halls of the High with music, but it says no music. Reading is fundamental. Bravo. Snap, snap, snaps. Does anybody want to share about your motivation for your particular scene work? Sort of where you got your inspiration from. I'm cracking myself up.
I can talk about editing.
Yes, do.
So I had way too much fun editing that together. I worked with what I had, and I had a lot of really great content to split up over the entire song. So even like coming back to people like Zuri was really funny. And Ion was really funny. I kind of made them out to be like the late ones, even though they're super on it, right? Ion, you're always on it. And that was just really fun. I'm so proud of like where we started with capturing, which by the way, it was rough at the beginning. But seeing your progress and the things that you would come up with on your own, and I got to play around with that when in that song, and so it was really fun and exciting.
Cool. I'm curious for the students, what's it like seeing it all come together for you, knowing that you turned in sort of this little short video and then seeing it all together? I don't see any hands. Okay. All right, we're gonna go to the next video. We might be. So the next one is a classroom scene that I thought would be fun because these we taped while in recording on a call like this. And then some of them we then had to go and retape because we learned a lot about what gets captured and what actually doesn't work out so well. And then edit it all together. And you'll also get to see two of our adult cast members, Principal Moore and Miss Schuler. So the Voices of Carmen is the opera Carmen set in a high school, and it's a high school literature class that is unpacking the novella, and this will give you the context that you need for the rest of the show. Principal Moore, good to see you.
Well, I almost forgot to mention, you have a new student, Dominic Jones, who's a special transfer from another district. I'll talk to you more about him after class. Now, come on. Get yourself settled. All right. So, as some of you know, Mr. Tate is no longer with us. Oh, no, I apologize. That sounded awful. He's perfectly fine. He's just no longer teaching at our school. He's no longer with us teaching. Now, we're fortunate to have a new and very capable teacher joining us as his replacement, and I expect you will give her your utmost respect and attention. Now, I'll be dropping in to ensure that you do. So, everyone, please welcome Ms. Schuler. Huh? Okay, have a good class. Focus.
How do I turn the camera?
Well, let's not waste any time getting started. Can someone tell me the last book you were reading with Mr. Tate?
War and Peace.
Wow. That's pretty ambitious. You must be very bright. So, what was memorable or interesting from what you read so far? Anything? Can someone tell me about another book you've read? Something you've actually liked? Doesn't have to be recent. Matter of fact, think back to earlier books you've read. Anyone know Charlotte's Web? Raise a hand. Okay. How about Rikki Tikki Tavi? Ah. Can someone tell me something about one of those books?
Oh, Ricky was a mongoose who was crazy fast. So fast, he could kill the deadliest snake before they could take a bite.
That's right.
In Charlotte's Web, there was this cute little pet pig who made friends with a pregnant spider.
Yes. And for extra credit, what's something we learned from that sweet little pig? The answer's worth an A for the day.
She taught a little girl in her whole town the importance of positive thinking even when things seem hopeless. I've got a little sister, and I need that A.
She's right. Now, why do you think you can tell me so much about these stories and not, say, War and Peace?
Because they're not boring.
He's not wrong.
That definitely helps. But I have a hunch. I think these stories are easier to remember because they're more alive in our minds. When you and I were young, we were encouraged to use our imaginations when reading, to open up our minds, to envision a world between the pages. The more vivid the storytelling, the more memorable and fun.
So this is literature class, and Mr. Tate doesn't really do fun.
Well, it's good he's not here because we're about to change it up. Everybody up. On your feet. Come on.
Am I in the right class?
Dominic?
Yeah, it's my first day.
It's mine too.
All right. So that is how we did one of the classroom scenes. Any questions? Any things you're curious about knowing? How we're creating theater in this new era of virtual creativity and connection. I'm really curious as to what you're curious about. Yes. Ms. Wells?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Well, one, I just wanted to say I'm like completely impressed with the production. And I feel like I've watched some shows on television where they've used this format with the Zoom and kind of different recordings. And so I'm very, very impressed. I guess it's curious, maybe this is more about the editing, but it almost seems like a seamless kind of connection to videos. And obviously I'd imagine people are using different, a camera, a smartphone or what have you. So I'm kind of curious, like, how did you, one, create some consistency when you were having individuals record themselves? And then two, how did you actually kind of create that seamlessness when it came to editing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. I'm actually going to let Lauren answer that question because she's usually the one who's sending out the emails going, please send me your videos.
It's funny because I was going to let one of our cast members answer it because they would know better at this point on how to record themselves and the things and best practices that they learned on the long way. Anybody? Kobe? Ion? You're the only ones I can see. Zuri?
Sure. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, it's best practices on how to record yourself to make it a seamless process, especially with editing.
Okay, yeah. So one tip that we definitely all had to follow was we had to make sure our cameras were all horizontal and not like vertical, like how you would see on Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat. We all had to, kind of make it seem like we were all in a movie. So we had to film it wide. We all learned about good lighting for cameras. I don't know if my lighting's really good right now, but we all had to learn about what good lighting is, how to best put yourself in the camera so it like you can center yourself and it can be interesting and engaging for viewers to watch. And we just had like a whole workshop where we learned how to look best on camera and how to be our own filmmakers.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself, Kobe. Thank you so much. Yes, we actually did a lot of really great daily reminders and also workshops with lighting and having your 2-inch pinch at the top of your screen, both recording in Zoom and then also recording yourself at home because Zoom wasn't as responsive as we may have thought. But you can, tune in next Thursday for our how we did it conversation. But yeah, that we did a lot of those workshops, and they learned so much. I mean, honestly, from week 1 to week 5, it was a huge difference in how they recorded themselves and how they appeared in screen.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got a couple more videos to show. I want to go to a musical number so that you can see something that we did with some movement and dancing. And as you have thoughts or questions, and when we're done, feel free to just write something in the chat or raise your hand and let us know what you're thinking and what your feedback is.
Now, yo.
That no one can take. And if you call for it, it'll be quite in vain. When am I going to love? Maybe tomorrow, maybe never, but not today. Love is a rebellious bird that no one can take. And if you call for it, for it's in its nature to flutter away. Love, oh love. If you don't love me, I love you. And if I love you, never.
All right. That was Habanera. First impressions, thoughts, questions. So Melissa's here. Melissa, you're gonna have to read in the chat. I ain't got my glasses on.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Did I see a little hand over there, Mr. Robert Mignon? I saw a little tiny hand in your Habanera. First impressions.
That's my granddaughter. They're enjoying it very much.
Good, good. I'm glad you can us hang out and take a look. So why don't I do a little sort of behind the scenes how it's made? Um, so we actually spent a lot of time capturing separately or capturing at very long distances. Next Thursday, after we do show the entire movie, we're inviting arts education programs and theaters to come and have a really candid talk about how you do this. And there's no need to reinvent the wheel. We learned a lot, we made a lot of mistakes, and we would love to share them with whoever would want to listen and be able to improve this process for other theater makers and young people that you work with. And so we're going to be super honest about what worked, what didn't work, what were our challenges. But I will say, especially for our Don Jose's and Carmen's, as I said, the premise of the show is that this high school literature teacher gets her students on their feet to act out Carmen, the novella by Prosper Mérimée. And in doing so, they get more and more engrossed in the story. So we cut back and forth between being in the classroom acting it out and them actually in their mind's eye feeling like they're becoming these characters. And so wondering if you can sort of see that theme that we're creating within the pieces, especially in Act 1. And then the deeper we get into the setting, the more that the class starts to disappear and we really feel like we're immersed in this story fully. Any thoughts or questions on what I've shared so far about this piece? Yeah, Ayan.
I really love how this turned out. Uh, uh, I really love the cutting back between Lauren and Carmen as a character and as I'd say the actress who's playing her. Really letting the audience know that while this is a story being told to a class, this is the story.
Thank you for that feedback. Absolutely. Anyone else, questions or feedback? And something that you'll notice is that our Carmen's and Don Jose's in the classroom, the teacher says we can take turns. So we have 3 Carmen's and 3 Don Jose's. That's also secretly for me an opportunity to create more roles for young people in theater. Oftentimes when you do a musical, it wasn't necessarily built for high school students and you're trying to figure out how to give out 50 parts. And you've got like 5 lead characters, so you're breaking every monologue up into little beats that everybody can have. Our show has 19 principal roles in it, which is unheard of. And 11 of those principals are women because you always have more girls than you have guys in the theater department. And so all of this is by design. I always say this is theater made by theater makers for theater makers who are especially educators who are trying to figure out how to make things work that people did not have them in mind when they were doing it, but we do because we also teach as well as perform and present professional theater. Any other questions before we move on? I think we're
question. I have a question. Did all 3 Carmens, did you all like work together in terms of like creating your backstory and making sure like, even though there's different, women representing Carmen, just to make sure there was like a thread throughout all 3 that was the same, so that I don't know that so it came across the stage like, oh yeah, there's a connection between all 3, even though they're being played by 3 different actresses. So did all 3 of you all work together and just like creating Carmen?
Go ahead, Zuri.
So we didn't really talk together a lot about it. We didn't really work on it together. We kind of went our separate ways in what Carmen really meant to us and what she represents for us. But I will definitely take that in mind next time, that I should probably talk to the other Carmens or any person with a similar role. So then it's like it flows. So yeah.
I also remember when we first started, we had all of our 2019 Carmens meet with y'all as the 2020 Carmens to talk about how they built their character development and all of that stuff. So hopefully you didn't forget that and it sort of sat on you. It's interesting right now as having sat for days editing all three of you and seeing similarities at times and yet seeing differences and where movement is specifically like, oh, that's Carmen's that's her physicality, that's her body language and what she does. And some of that reads in all three characters. It's really interesting. All right. Are we ready for another number? So this one was edited by one of our cast members, Kobe. We also always have our cast members work on behind the scenes and in any sort of production manner, because when you are an artist and in production, it's great to have a lot of skill sets and have a lot of hats that you wear and understand how all of these cogs come together, because it's all about collaboration. And life is about collaboration. So if you can learn it in theater, you can sort of apply that to life in other places. And so earlier this week, we were like, oh my gosh, we've got so much to do. And we were like, there's some little green screen stuff. And he was like, you know who does green screen really well? Kobe. And so we said, well, let's see if he wants to do some of the fight scenes and da da da. And so Kobe, raise your hand, Kobe, helped us out with this. And he was one of our cast members as well. Apply that to life in other places. And so, where did I go? Oh, here we go. So this is after Carmen comes on the scene in the courtyard, and she works at the cigarette factory in the square. And she and another employee have had a conflict, and the show unpacks conflicts quite a bit. And so this is an issue that she's having with another coworker at the cigarette factory, utilizing some of Georges Bizet's compositions.
Then suddenly,
when Captain Zuniga's attempts to quell the quarrel did not succeed, he assigned Don Jose to take Carmen to lockup.
Yeah. Any first impressions, thoughts about Kobe's work on the editing there?
It was a great job. Very great job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good job, Cole.
Thank you.
All right, we have time for one more number. I want to. Any questions? First impressions, thoughts about Kobe? Let's see.
Impressive. Nice.
He's coming.
Okay. No. Oh gosh, I'm so torn. I'm so torn.
Monica, don't do this to me.
I'm gonna put.
That was a call. He's coming.
So we can do our hero.
Our hero.
There's a clear conflict of interest.
Crossroads.
It's clearly all biased.
So now here's the thing. He's coming. What do you think?
There's a clear conflict of interest. It's clearly all biased.
Somebody saying what they would like to see. What's
Is there going to be a party rag clip?
Let's not do that.
I don't have that in this file. That's a great one. Let me see. Let me see. No, I don't think I have that in this file. That's a fun one. So there's a lot of great music, and all this music you can listen to streaming. So before, go ahead and listen to music so you can sing along in your apartment or your home while you watch the play. You know,
So the party rag scene and all the other scenes will all be put together on Tuesday, right?
So there's a lot together already, and you'll be able to watch the entire movie from front to back. There will be a short 2-minute intro. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then come back. And the whole show itself is about 1 hour. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So let me just tell you something else about the story. And I think I'll close out with Desert Rose. And so inside of this class, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there's some really wonderful ballads, but I'm not going to hit that now. Inside of this class, there's this new student, Dominic, and as the story is being told, something really strikes close to home for him. And so he brings up to the teacher that he knows how the story of Carmen is going to end. And if you know how the story of Carmen ends, you would be concerned as a teacher that has happened to someone that he's very close to. And so how we close out that conversation is that she's not sure that they should continue with the story. And when he comes back to class the next day, he's decided, he has a real strong conviction that he wants the story told, that it's his sister's story, but he wants to tell it in his own way. And so this is the way that he chooses to tell a story about his sister, who is our third and final Carmen in the production. And you may have seen this video online. We've been pushing it out. It's lots of fun.
You were the one that made that?
A desert rose in the dry, cool world. Living much too fast for such a young girl. My sister, she was booming on the wrong side of town. You know, sometimes when you grow, keeps the mentality down. But you couldn't tell her nothing, she was doing her thing. While my mom cursed and screamed by her friends in the game. I wish I could go back and tell her which road to choose. But in the game, in the hood, you gotta pay your own dues. She felt hard for this dude named DJ, and her heart got broke when the cops took him away. But she waited and debated whether she should stay true, getting heat on the street from Big E and his crew. Then one day she got word he was free as a bird. He said he meet her and he greeted her on the block when she heard. She fell out of her blues with the sonic and news. But I wish I could go back and tell her which road to choose. But I wish I could go back and tell her which road to choose. But I wish I could go back and tell her which road to choose. But I wish I could go back and tell her which road to choose.
I wanted to finish with that one because it had the most of our cast in that. Great job, everybody. And so how it's done, we had individuals tape themselves. We learned that dance in Zoom. Like I was like, okay, move this way, move that way, move this way. And actually, Monica, I'm tired of hearing myself talk. Why don't you explain how it was done? And Shayla, also, since you were there, you guys explain how it was done. Go ahead.
Yeah, so for a while, like I think like a couple of weeks, we were just finding spaces in our houses, like our bathrooms or living rooms or something, where there was a plain wall, and we would dance, and we'd stop and stare at Miss CJ to see which way she was leaning and moving her arms. And then we actually got to Graffiti Alley, and they hung up a green screen, and then we came in one by one, and we did the dance in front of the green screen so that we'd be able to put it together and manipulate the background so it looked like we were all in the same place.
Shayla, did you want to share, especially you and Jackie? Jackie jumped in sort of last minute to help out to play the role of Mercedes. And it was very interesting recording people who are supposed to be best friends and hang out and are close, but always having a good amount of distance between them. Do you want to share a little about what that was like, and so people can kind of see behind the scenes a bit?
Yeah, it was really fun. It was like Monica said, there was a long time where we were just in our house trying to find blank spaces. And I know I was taking things off the wall for the longest time and not knowing how to put them back up. And then when we got to Graffiti Alley and at the Motor House, it was easier because we had the green screen. And there were times where we had to hold up the green screen so it could stay up. But yeah, it was fun to film at the Motor House.
And then later on, we layer it back together to give that sense of connectivity and closeness, even though there's an actor who's literally 20 feet over there with a mask on while the other one is here. And actually was another interesting thing is the scene where they walk in together, we actually shot separately. We shot only one person with a mask, and then we shot the other person with a mask off. And then we did the reverse, and we did it at such an angle that you couldn't quite tell how far apart they were, but one person was wearing a mask, and then we went this way, and it made it look like both of them were just sort of walking in regular, having a conversation with Big E. So we definitely had to be really creative in how we approached movement and positioning of people to still make it feel pretty normal to life. Jackie, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, for sure. So I was not in the cast originally for this year, and then last minute they needed to film something, so I had to step in. And for sure, it was a great experience learning how to film with people in the same frame, but with the restrictions that we have going on, that we're in a pandemic. And so basically, like what Shayla said, we had to hold up the green screen, one was holding it up, and getting shot from different angles and perspective was a big part that we had to play with. And learning how to do all of that and working together was just a wonderful experience that I got to be involved in.
Damn, boy, he's fit. Boy, that's a
Interesting. All right. Well, that is our last excerpt performance. I want to give anybody an opportunity to ask any questions or give any comments. Again, we're going to save the date, not very far, Tuesday. It'll be a little celebration after your first day back at school, folks. And it'll probably be around 7 o'clock in the evening, 7 to 8. And we will send out another link to join us. That show will be an hour long. You'll see full excerpts. There's actually one number that I'm super excited for you to see. 2 or 3 numbers really, but it's Carmen number 3. And she's actually Carmen number 2, but we call her Carmen number 3. Sometimes there's 4 Carmens, sometimes there's 3 Carmens. So if there are 3 Carmens, then Carmen number 1, 2 is one person, and number 3 is the middle Carmen. And Zuri plays that Carmen, and Bree and Paige, hi Zuri, and Bree and Paige are her best friends, Frasquita and Mercedes. And
go Dory.
you just saw the contemporary best friends and sort of the modern telling of Carmen. But the way that we taped that is Bree and Paige actually live really close by. They're best friends. They spend the night at each other's house. So we knew their parents were very comfortable with them being together. So we had the two of them tape their performance, their dance performance together. And then 2 hours later, Zuri showed up and taped her dance performance. And then in the editing, we made it look like the three girls are just best friends and all dancing together at a local pub. And so we showed it to Hannah the other day and we didn't say anything until afterwards. And we were like, so Hannah, those girls are not in the same room. She was like, what? It was quite fun. It's really fun. And you can look for that stuff now that you know when you come back on Tuesday. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us and spending a little bit of your evening with Voices of Carmen. It has been a tremendous 5 weeks working with these young people, working with these young artists and collaborators and hearing from them and getting their ideas and putting those things into this show.
Damn, boy.
It can be. And so we appreciate want to stay muted, everybody. All right. So look out for that email. Tuesday night, we'll come in. We'll show some trailers for 5 minutes and boom, watch a movie. Bring your popcorn, bring a friend. It's going to be a blast. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night. Bye, Zori.
Good night, everybody.
See you on
Good night,
Tuesday.
everyone.
That was
Peace
great.
out.
Thanks for coming. See you on Tuesday.
Thank you very much.
I was watching that meme.
Toby. See you all Tuesday.
Anyway. Peace out. See you Tuesday, everyone.
Good night, Zuri. Night, Zuri.
And if you're my family watching this, you're not funny for making fun of me.
Once again.
Good job, Cole.
Ah. Oh.
This is my jam.
Mommy, no, you know damn well I can't. I don't want to let them
Carmen,
talk to girls like that.
I'm
You know that. I feel like
home.
no woman-
About
You're not gonna be
time.
You gon' play me like that just when I get back to see you, that's cool.
About time.
You know two could play this game, cause you feel the same, and you know it's true.
About time.
You step to a guy like me, who'll always be willing here for you.
About time.
We cut to the chase, baby, and you let me see the sweet side of you.
Sweet as a honeybee. There's so much more to a girl like me. Like a queen, I control this hive. They get shook when they see my stride. So many times I've already tried. Get too close, so you won't survive me. As your honeybee.
About time we cut to the chase, baby, and you let me see the sweet side of you. Sweet as a honeybee.
Oh? Girl,
what you doing to me? You're a sight for sore eyes to see. It's about time.
Yeah?
Sweet as a honeybee.
Boy, what you doing to me?
You're a sight for sore eyes to see. It's about time.
About time. Sweet as a honeybee.
Girl, what you doing to me?
You're a sight for sore eyes to see. It's about time.
It's about time.
Sweet as a honeybee. Boy, what you doing to me? You're a sight for sore eyes to see. It's about time.
Come on.
Sweet as a honeybee. Boy, what you do to me? You're a sight for sore eyes to see. It's about time.
About time.
Sweet as a honeybee. Boy, what you doing to me? You're a sight for sore eyes to see. It's about time.
Bitch, I cannot wait till you see the video About Time. It's literally my favorite thing that I've edited so far.
I want to see it so bad.
It's so cool.
I want to see that so bad. I was so hyped about this. Like I set alarm clocks, I set timers. I was hype about this, bro. I was hype.
Oh, yeah, I was like, ooh, child, I can't put out a cancellation. Let's just go in and watch a little something, something.
Bro, those teasers, I was low-key mad. I was like, wow. But you know what? That makes my Tuesday a lot more better because I start school that day and I'm gonna be tired. So I'm gonna go and take me a little nap before Carmen starts.
Fun fact about Tuesday, it's my birthday.
Is it your birthday? That's
Tuesday
dope.
will be my birthday.
I have to come with a little cup.
That's dope. This is, bro, how did, like, I'm really trying to figure out that Zoom with Principal Jones and Miss Shula was hilarious at the end when he said, how do I turn this off? Why is that me on Zoom? No, that's me, bro. Like, that's me on Zoom. Be like, did I turn it off? Like, did I turn it off right?
Old man.
Like, that's really me, bro.
Oh,
It's so sad.
so hilarious. I wanted to show them so bad, but like the first scene with Miss Schuler, he's totally ironing in like boxer shorts on the phone with the teacher.
Oh, I want to see that. I want to see that.
You're
I want to see that.
gonna love him.
Bro, y'all did good on that editing. That storm kind of threw me off though, but y'all did good on the editing.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. I was like, I don't know what's going on technically, and some people lost power. I was like,
Right.
sometimes the spirit just tell you, you know what? Don't y'all just chill. We got this. It's gonna come back around.
Or just make it a little like tease session. Because then that brings everybody back, and then you can like, yo, the Carmen excerpts were cool. So come see the musical, right? So I can understand the motive behind that.
Here can be our street team and bring their friends back, and we'll have
Right. I definitely posted on my story. I was like, Carmen, we live. I don't know, but I posted it.
So I have a question for y'all. So now having been with the show last year, so for me, I was like, this obstacle turned into an opportunity. Like in my mind, I would have loved to get to the point of doing a video, of doing a musical movie, blah blah blah. But I'd have been like, oh, I can't production, blah blah blah. And but when the happened, it was like, well, everything is virtual, and everybody understands the quality value of it, and so you don't have to come full Hollywood blaze as long as you're telling good stories. And so, what is that like for you, Mitch, watching, having done the live performance and seeing this iteration and any changes and things that happen in a sort of televised or virtual video way?
Oh man, seeing it like being on stage or being in the cast that it was like originally performed. Man, I don't know because both of them were good. Even from what I've seen from this, both of them were good. So I usually for Carmen, most of my opinions are biased, but for this one, it's not. Like I'm torn because both of them are good. The editing is good. The scenes are hilarious. Some of the scenes are hilarious. The editing is good. This cast, they rocked it. Like seeing from knowing the original cast and like being able to work with this cast when I got to do that performance, what? Like I was blown. I went home and I told my mom, I was like, I just hope that one performance Don Jose #1 misses every year because I will do it. That's how excited I was to see the new cast and to see it done differently, but to still see it be like knocked out of the park. Yeah. And like even the way that y'all did it with even that mysterious car, I don't know why that was there, but even with having to maneuver through basically an alley and still give the people a show and rock it, like I was blown. Like I was blown. So I can't answer that question. That's one question that you have me stumped. I don't know because both of them were good and both of them were good in their own respective way. I don't know which one is better. I just don't.
It's really interesting for me. I feel like my creative mind is on like hyperdrive. Like I love being a director. I love being a choreographer. I love being a writer. Like it's all just sort of going. This was the hardest production I've ever mounted in my whole life. Like I was like tired in my bones. Like I had to lay down every day and I wasn't napping. I just was like, what was it?
Taking a break.
Sensory deprivation, turning the lights off, laying completely still, and just being quiet,
And just breathing.
mind, because it's so you're troubleshooting. It's like, how am I going to do that? How am I going to transitioning? It's like translating into a different language.
And I feel like in this kind of time where everything is virtual, it's even forced me, because I am launching a podcast next week, not next week, but the week after next. And with that, and my mind has been on overdrive because I've been writing, I have been doing this podcast stuff, I've been preparing for school, I've been doing virtual productions with the group that I'm in now. So it's like my mind is on hyperdrive. So best believe I understand when you have to lay down, turn all the lights off, put your phone on do not disturb so nobody calls you, and breathe. I understand it, because it's like in this time where we're forced to not only like look at we're forced to almost forced to look at ourselves, and we see just where we are creatively, and it will rock your world. If you don't know fully, it will blow your mind. When you're forced to look at it, it'll be like, oh, I can do that. Okay, wait, breathe. Because you're seeing all of these things, and it's like, bruh, like I never knew I could do that. Like I never knew I could write. I never knew I like podcasts. I had one, it was okay. I didn't know I liked podcasts like this. So just, it's really forced all of us, even creatives, be it creative or be it whatever, it's really forced us to take a look at ourselves and see what we are capable of and really like what we can do. So yeah, quarantine has been good and bad, but mostly good for a lot of people, I think.
Obstacle to opportunity. Ayan, I'm curious. Um, Having sort of been in this process for the past 5 weeks, um, and seeing how things are coming together, because we were seeing it in bits and pieces, and I could tell when we first showed our hero that y'all didn't believe me. Like y'all were like, "Oh, this is gonna be something." We was just like, "Yeah, like okay, she keeps saying this gonna be a show. I don't see nothing." But
Like, well, okay, she keeps saying it. All right.
we're week 4. It's like you believe in me for the first time that we're really trying to put this thing together. So what is it like now seeing how much it's coming together?
Oh, it's so surreal watching this, because like when you're recording bits and pieces and you don't know what everyone's doing, it feels off, because you're only in your own little bubble without realizing that everyone else has their bubble that that's sort of combining into a big giant bubble that you don't see yet.
Bubble productions. So and it's interesting too because Mitch Ion carries a lot of the dialogue in some of the student scenes.
Nice.
That shifted for me. And what's interesting to me as a director is how malleable the piece is. Like, you know, last year our Carmen #1 was clearly a dancer actress. This year our Carmen #1 is an actress who sings, and we've got a trumpet player, and then we've got, you know, and so I feel like the performers become the canvas to paint on, you know. And the part that Ayan plays in Act 2 was not normally what I had on the page. I actually had someone else on the page who was like, okay, this character because but Ayan stepped into that role one day just because someone was out. And I was like, well, he just got that job.
It was like, all right, well, he filled that one.
I am so glad I made an impression.
But it's like, I understand it, because while the performers make the piece, you can also see, because I know, I'm going to use an example. Last year, Dominique, she was like, I'm not a singer, I just dance, and she's on the cast album. And I was like, and when I heard it first, because let me tell you, when the cast album came out first, I was probably the first one in the house to listen to it. Like cast albums, I was like, oh yeah. So I listened to it and I heard Dominique and I was like, and she's just a dancer, right? Like she said she was just a dancer. So it's like you see diversities of performances, even to where like the people playing it don't even recognize it. And it's like, oh bruh, I can do this. It's like, oh wow. So in this piece, I appreciate you, Miss CJ, because it's not just like the typical we act, we sing, we dance. Like you have people that are singers that are acting, dancers that are singing, singers that are dancing. So I really do appreciate this piece and the diversity of not only the performers, but the switch from like George Bizet's time to like 2020. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, when I first heard of this piece, when I came to audition, I was like, okay, so George Bizet is like before me and like 18, 16 something. I'm like, how is she gonna pull this together? And then when I got to the audition process and I got through the show, it was like, ooh, wow, that blew my entire like 14-year-old mind. I was 14 at the time. That blew my 14-year-old mind. It like blew my 14-year-old mind. I was like, oh my God, wow. And then the workshops, the job readiness, I was like, bro, this is heaven for a theater kid, if you think about it. So I really do appreciate you for the diversity, just the diversity, and then your creative mind being overdrive, and then having people that carry that kind of creative overdrive and can stick with it, though it may get frustrating, but they can stick with it and still be able to put their creativity, that's the word, creativity on blast, and just be able to run with that. Just, it's virtual, we don't understand it, we don't know this virtual world, but we're gonna do it, and it happened.
There's a resilience in creative people that I love. And I love it when you find creativity young and know the value and see the value in it. Because some people
Yes.
talk off as like hobby-ish and, on the side. But there are so many things in life that you can apply to so many scenarios that you learn by creating with other people. And I remember this more so than any other time. I journaled so much, and in the mornings, I would actually read excerpts. Ayan, do you remember? I would read excerpts from my journals. They'd be raw too. I'd be like teardrops all up on it.
Like just raw and uncut. Just give it to y'all straight.
But I remember I kept singing Into the Unknown from Frozen.
Man,
because that's what this felt like. I was like
going into nothing, like where you don't understand, but you gotta, I'm gonna say this. When you said Into the Unknown, that's why I said man, because I understand what it's like to step into like, oh, I don't know this at all. And you have to be as sweet as you can about it, because you really don't know it, but it's a whole new world, but it's a world you're willing to discover.
There's artists, to me, are some of the most faithful people. They believe,
yeah,
even though they don't see what that's going to be. They in their mind think that it's possible. And I was thinking, there was something else that came to mind about this group, especially care. I think because we were all going through so much, there was a sense of care for checking in on each other. And at first I was like, what's going on? But when people are sending a message or whatever, sometimes it's to everybody, sometimes it's one person in the chat, and it's just hang in there, y'all. If we're having a hard day, we try Jure, Bull Papa. I don't know what I'm saying is French, because we all learned habanera this year. And
wow, really?
and folks were like, ah! But we were doing it. And it was lots of unprompted encouragement for each other, that I was just so impressed with about this group, just checking in and the level of care.
Yeah. I will say this about this cast. When I did the performance, when I when I was invited to do the performance, of which I was hyped for. Like when it rained at first, I was like, I'm not gonna get to do Carmen. I'm gonna be in a bad mood the rest of the day. Like you don't understand how like really hyped I am about this show. And like doing the performances, I was hyped. So I got to the cast and there was no like, because sometimes in what I find in some theater shows, you have like, I'm not gonna say cliques, but you have like the groups, this group, this group, this group. That wasn't really in this cast. Like I came, we bonded, and there was no group. Everybody talked to everybody, and some people I knew because Fiona, she was in my ensemble, so I knew Fiona when I got there. I knew Lauren when I got there because she goes to my school, and Kobe from last year. But I believe that was really it. And Brianna and Jackie, but everybody from last year that I go to school with, basically. So, yeah. So there was no, like, there wasn't like a real group feeling. It was like a real bond and a real like, okay, a little frustrating, but we'll get there kind of thing. And I didn't see any groups. I didn't see this group hanging with this group. I didn't see this group hanging with everybody was talking to everybody. So we were backstage like having so much fun during the rehearsals and stuff, though we should have been paying attention. We were having fun. And like while we were trying to pay as much attention as we could, it was like me trying to just see this new cast and just being impressed by the new cast and just being like full out just, dang, she found them this year. Like she found them this year. So yeah, it's been real. So yeah, this is why I hold this cast with esteem and like just really impressed by this one.
We're like this. I'm so grateful we have these memories, right? So many things have been canceled. I'm so grateful that we pushed through, that we did what we did, and it was big, it was epic, and it came together really well every time. When we did the outdoor performance at Eager Park, I had all kinds of thoughts in my mind. Then when I got there, I was like, this place is ginormous. We got lots of room. It can be nice and distant, but it doesn't feel awkward. Like let's sort of reimagine how we creatively set this piece, and everybody just sort of jumped in and made it work. And then the car, I was calling the city 311. I was like, yo, can you please get this car from
Like, can y'all come get this?
But
I understand it.
So
I think in the creative mind, there's such a flow that when you get around a person that has that type of mindset and flow, it just clicks. Like there's no real hesitation when you get around that flow, when you get in kind of that for lack of words, I will call it a theater flow. But when you get in that kind of flow and you get in that kind of workspace where it's like, we got to pull a piece together. So let's pull the piece together. And when you get in that, it's like, it almost just seems like, we don't know how we're going to pull this off, but hey, we're here. We got here and we made it. So we're going to do the best of our ability to pull it together. So it's been real.
Well, thank y'all for hanging out and just chatting for a while. I love that.
Yeah, I really miss talking to everyone. Like he said, there wasn't really separate groups. There was no way we could ever have separate groups while doing this. It was just full-on contact.
One of my favorite lines is, well, Monica always says the funniest things to me. One day,
yeah,
in the performance, she was like, "It just feels so good to talk to you without having to unmute myself." And then
That's funny.
we did the workshop about healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships. They gave a scenario where
we just went off.
Oh my God, that thing was lively. I was like, I had to turn my camera off because I was laughing. I was like, oh, I gotta go.
I gotta go. That's funny.
Yeah, was it Samantha? There was some character, like there's a girl named Samantha and she's in a relationship with Todd, and then this happens and he says this and she said this, and she was like, I'm offended and I'm not even Samantha.
Oh, Monica's hilarious.
That's funny.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I'm going to get myself a little snack. I know I'm eating after hours, but you know, whatever. Can't nobody see me below, so.
Right. It don't matter. like nowadays we're sitting in chairs and nobody really sees what we really my mom calls it the COVID-19 that we put on. So we can eat after hours. It's all right.
Well, it's always great chatting with you, and I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. I'm almost looking to see if I can give y'all for say. I always love to reward folks for coming early or staying late. Let me see if I can do an extra sneak peek that the rest of the group didn't see.
Yes.
I was a little uncomfortable with he's coming because my family was watching it and they were already in the mood of making fun of everything.
I'm here because I have nothing better to do. It's like 10 o'clock at night. What I gotta do at 10 o'clock at night?
I just like to stick around and talk.
Yeah, that's true. And plus, not trying to spoil you, Miss CJ, but I love talking to Miss CJ because it's like you see her mind and then she's hilarious. She's hilarious.
Oh, this was the part. So, oh my gosh, I cannot wait till y'all see this part. So we were trying to figure out how to do the when Miss Schuler leaves the room and she tells the students to talk amongst themselves while she goes in a breakout room to talk to Mr. Principal Moore. So we did a run through, sort of the first read through, and we recorded that. And we some of the recordings were just dropping. We couldn't find them. We were like, and so we stumbled upon it like a few days ago. And when I tell you, it was one of my favorite reads of that because that part is improv on what their reactions are to the three conflicts: the lover's spat, the co-worker quarrel, and the head-to-head with authority. And what people shared was so deep and interesting and diverse, and it's now in the movie. Legit.
That's amazing.
Nice.
All right, so let me see what I can show you. I think, what can I show you?
In the meantime, I needed, for some reason, I got this ring light. My dad got it from a hotel, and now I have a ring light. That's all.
I need a ring light. I need one of those, especially if I'm going to be like on Zoom most of my school.
Now that I have it, I really wish I had it while we were filming everything. This is much better managing of my lighting.
Oh, you know what? And Ion, you've seen this. Although we've been having a hard time with the I don't think we have the clip of y'all. No, is this? Let me see if this has actually got the sound in it before I told you, because it's always disappointing when it doesn't. Okay, so yeah, Ion has seen this, and this is Kobe. He's fabulous.
Wow.
So talented. Kobe is just too talented. My husband like, Kobe's just underfunded. He's a superstar.
Yeah, I was making
Kobe's amazing.
When we were at the Motor House, I made a joke like, all right, if I were to cast everyone in here in like a Disney sitcom, Kobe's the main character.
Yeah, I think I'd give it to her.
So, this is the old version, so you won't see anything on the front but black, but you can sort of get the gist of it.
Not just a
You hear it okay?
Yeah, we're good.
And he's a legend of our time.
Greeting the fans, cause he's infinitely kind.
Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware.
Fight the king if you dare.
As Samuel,
He's our hero, the bullfighter of the year.
not just a man, I'm a legend of our time. Greeting the fans, cause I'm infinitely kind. Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare. As Samuel, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year. As Samuel, I'm your hero.
He's our hero.
The bullfighter of the year.
We're
so much about. Hey, do either of you know Joshua Lee or Christine Garvey? We might still be on and people saying hello, trying to come into the.
Oh yeah, we're still live on YouTube.
Okay.
We are?
Yeah, they heard that whole conversation.
That's all good. Artist talking.
What up, YouTube?
So, so I cannot wait to make a behind the scenes. I'm learning so much about myself as a director because I hear myself in the edits. Like just then, that's an old edit, and so you hear me going, what's a weirdo in the background? And there's this one that's my favorite where I'm trying to get the like most ferociousness out of Tyrone for the big dance battle, and Tyrone is so laid back and cool, and so to sort of get him to like really like come with it. I'm literally being his voice, and I'm like doing that part where the Don Jose's are flipping their thing like that, Mitchell. And you hear me in the background going, "All right, you want to fight with the bulls? You get the hook."
Oh my goodness. That's funny. I promise you, if I heard that, I would know it. She would immediately laugh. Immediately laugh.
Like, it's like you're always talking. I was like, people need correction and affirmation when they're doing it well, and it's hitting the mark, and it's So, anyways, I'm learning a lot.
She just strolled on through. She didn't.
I'm gonna head out. Have a great night. Thanks for chatting.
See ya.
It was my pleasure.
Mine too.
Everybody who's watching.
Bye.
Bye, all the audience that is left.
Oh yeah.